He sees you when you're sleeping. He knows when you're awake. He knows when you've been bad or good, so shut the freak up, you hecking abomination of nature. You were God's only mistake. If you had never been born, your mother and I might still be together. Now get back to your cage and don't tell the authorities. Kanye 2020. And welcome back, everybody.
And welcome.
I don't want to be here anymore.
I would like to apologize.
Welcome, everybody, to the first podcast.
To the first good podcast.
Yeah.
Aw, is that
We're
because I'm here?
going to start a podcast, everybody. Welcome to the first episode.
Okay, I'm done.
That made a weird sound.
Welcome to the first episode, everybody.
The first good episode.
I hope it's good. I hope it's good. So it's the first episode. Welcome here, everybody.
Give me.
For the first time.
This is not going to work as well as what we thought.
All right, well, welcome back to our podcast, everyone. Thanks for showing up for a second time. We are joined by Esther this week because we are going to talk about Infinity War, as you probably already guessed from the title.
That ought to bring the kids in.
It ought to bring the viewers in, yes.
Ought to bring the kids in.
So we're gonna do kind of like two sections to this. So kind of what I was thinking is because we want to do a portion that's like spoiler free. So for all of our viewers that have not yet seen Infinity War, we want to give you something that you can enjoy.
Feel free to spoil it in the comments, though. Go crazy.
Don't read the comments.
Yeah, there you go. If you don't want spoilers, just don't read the comments. That's already the rule on the internet. People know that.
Yeah, you've been on the internet before. So what I thought we could do is just kind of go down the line and we'll just give like our spoiler-free thoughts first, and just do like kind of brief like what you thought of the movie.
By the way, I did not prepare to do that, so.
Yeah, I know. You weren't supposed to prepare. This is supposed to be like off the cuff.
Okay, I'll just have to tread very carefully so as not to spoil anything on accident.
I know. It's going to be hard for me to not spoil anything. I hated it when Batman died.
Okay. Are we sure we want her on here?
Yes. Yes, we are sure.
I knew you loved me.
Okay, so Esther, why don't you go ahead and
Why
go
aren't
first?
you starting? Because you're at the beginning of the line.
I know.
Okay.
But also, we're going in order of how good you are. Like, just as a person. So it'll be 1, 2, 3. Get it?
No, you're going next.
Oh.
We're going down the line, except we're not starting with me. We're starting in the middle, so we're going to go down the line and then loop around.
That's cool. Age before beauty.
Going down the line works.
I'm going to just level with you guys. I don't know what that phrase means.
Okay, go ahead, Esther. Get us started.
Spoiler free. It was really good.
Oh, no way. I haven't heard anyone say that.
I don't know how to say how good it was without spoiling anything.
How did it make you feel?
I cried a lot. I actually cried less the second time, which is weird.
Same.
I was a lot sadder, but it was like that kind of sad where like you can't cry.
See, that's weird because I actually cried more the second time because
I know.
That's because
I knew what was and it was because like the first time I think I was just so like, oh my goodness, this is so good. Like, it's so well done. I was just so caught up in, like, the way that they were telling the story and everything.
And, like, Abby said that told me that it was, like, a lot worse the second time because then you knew what was coming. So then you started crying. And then when it actually happened, then you're crying even harder. Yeah. But I didn't really have that. I was a lot more sad, but I cried less.
Gotcha.
So.
Jeremiah?
That makes sense. Oh, it's already my turn?
Yes.
Okay, all right. I guess there's not much to say without spoiling. Because,
I know.
Yeah.
I mean, that's one of the things I like best about the movie is that basically the whole thing is, like, important events. So, I mean, yeah, this isn't a spoiler. Basically, just throughout the movie, because there's so many characters, and they're all basically main characters, just like every time that a character is introduced, it's like they're capturing the best part of the feel of that character's movie.
I know.
With like the soundtrack and obviously like the sets and locations and everything. Like every character that's introduced, you're just like, yes, I'm so excited for that guy.
I know.
Yeah.
Like, even if you don't like the characters that much, like, in their own movies, you're just like, yes, that person.
It's
because
like,
of the way that they do it.
You saw the first Avengers, and you remember how good that was when you saw all these characters that you already liked in their own movies, and then just how awesome it was for them to all be on the same screen together, fighting the same villain. It's so cool. It's that times a million because it's just scaled up so much. And seriously, like, every time the new character is introduced, you can usually tell by, like, the line that's leading up or the soundtrack, you know, whatever song starts playing, or just the just whatever. It's so it gets you so excited. And then to be honest, the thing that I was most impressed about with the movie is the fact that it actually lived up to the hype.
Yeah.
I know.
Because there was so much of it.
Yeah, that was
and
insane.
The fact that there's 10 years, 18 movies building up to this, the fact that
it was longer than 10 years.
The fact that it actually paid
Iron
off.
Man was like May of 2008, I think. Yeah. So it was like close to 10
like
years.
10 plus years. Okay.
Yeah.
That's insane.
Yeah. So just the fact that it was actually able to pay off all that build up and all that hype, and just basically in one movie be the climax of 18 other movies
Yeah.
I know.
was insane to me.
And I feel like
Of
the
course-
characters worked very well together. Like,
Yeah.
like some people that like you just thought like, oh, they're just gonna be fighting the entire time. They like actually worked together, and like there were a couple characters that were like kind of butting heads the whole time, but it was mainly for like comedic relief,
Yeah.
whatever. So
Yeah, and that was going to be kind of what I was going to talk about too, is just like kind of not specifics about like what happens in the movie, but just like what happened kind of around the movie, which is that it's just like, I think Marvel is changing the way that films are being made and the way that stories are being told, just with this new format of, you know, having characters that you know, have their own individual movies, but then they get together in like a group setting for a finale. And that's such a great way to tell a story, because for me personally, I tend to like TV shows more than I like movies, just because you have more character development, you have more time to actually get to know and really like get invested in the characters' lives.
Which allows you to have a lot more characters.
Yes, and it also allows so that whenever anything bad happens to a character, you really feel it because you really care about them. And so I think that's cool how Marvel has, and Marvel has had this, you know, in mind for like 10 years, which is insane. Like, they've been planning this for so long. And that's the reason why it's so successful, I think, is because they have put in the time to actually like build
like
a
they
foundation.
weren't just cranking out stuff like as fast as they could to make it really cheap and just
Like another certain comics superhero company who's I won't say their name on here for defamation.
It's DC Comics.
But let's just say that
it's DC.
the White House lives there.
Oh.
And you better
That took me like 30
and just
seconds.
imagine that you're like really dirty and you got to wash a ton, and the White House lives there, and you have to wash the White House a ton. You have to wash it a ton. And that should give you a little clue as to who I'm talking about.
Get it.
Because it's what?
Because it's dirty.
Oh, okay. That's.
You got to wash it a ton.
I was looking for the word comics.
Wash a ton.
But yeah, because like with DC with their Justice League movie, like before they did
Which
that,
I've not seen, by the way, but I've heard.
So first of all, they've rebooted their canon so many times that I don't even know what all is in the current canon. But I think Man of Steel.
It's just the Man of Steel, Batman versus Superman, and then Justice League.
And Wonder Woman was before Justice League,
right?
right?
That's true. That was.
So they had like 3 characters that they had their own movies before Justice League, and then in
Batman
Justice
didn't
League,
even have his own movie.
Oh yeah,
It was
that's
just
true.
Batman versus Superman.
But everyone knows about Batman, so
So that's fair. But yeah, that's the biggest problem with Justice
And
League,
then they
is that they
introduced,
actually
like-
had to develop 3 new characters for the Justice League movie, which does not work.
It does not work at all. Like with the Avengers, I think the only one. No, actually, all of them had been introduced. I was trying to think about like Hawkeye and Black Widow, but they even had like little cameos in all the other in other movies. So yeah, so it's just insane, like how well Marvel does stuff, and for some reason DC, like, I think they're just trying to play catch up, honestly, because I think they didn't realize what was going on 10 years ago, and so now they're trying to like make up for 10 years, and it's just not working at all.
I mean, I can't blame them, because I wouldn't have really anticipated that superhero movies would become as big as they are now.
That's true.
And that's just due to Marvel being so good at making them, really. But I can see how they wouldn't want, because there's a much larger upfront cost to making a movie and a much bigger risk in that than there is to writing comics.
Yeah, it's true.
So I can understand how they would, want to make sure there's actually a market there before they start spending too much money on it. But then the problem is that by the time they actually saw how much money Marvel is making and realized we have to get in on this,
oh, we need to do
Marvel
that
already
too.
had such a huge head start.
Yeah. And the problem is that instead of like taking a step back, as DC, instead of them taking a step back and saying like, okay, let's start now, we're not going to catch up to Marvel, but let's start now and start building our own foundation. They just kind of jumped in and tried to catch up for 10 years, in 1 month, and it like did not work.
I have said before, it's insane to me, like basically all 4 of those new DC movies that are official in the DCEU.
Yeah.
That they're simultaneously putting out these movies too slowly and cranking them out too quickly.
Yes. Yeah.
Because they're poorly done, because they're just rushing them out so quickly, and they're not giving enough time to
like-
actually develop the characters, which is what you need for a movie with 6 main characters.
Yeah.
And like in the movies themselves, like the scenes seem to take so long.
There we go.
So long.
Hey.
Like the scenes themselves, like I haven't really seen all of the Marvel movies. I've seen Batman versus Superman, Wonder Woman.
That's not Marvel.
You meant DC.
I mean, what?
She's seen all the Marvel movies.
That's what sorry.
Calm down, Pete.
Sorry.
It's okay.
Nobody
panic.
I have seen all the Marvel movies. I have not seen all the DC movies. I have seen the Dark Knight series, Wonder Woman.
Which is not canon.
Oh, it's not. Okay,
No.
sorry.
Yeah.
Because they rebooted again.
It's
Seriously?
It's not Christian Bale anymore.
Yeah.
Which is a good thing. I don't care what you think. Christian Bale is a bad Batman. Carry on.
I liked him.
Anyways,
No,
so
he's
I've
bad.
seen Wonder
I've
Woman
pretty much only seen his Batman movies. So.
and Batman versus
His
Superman.
Batman voice was terrible,
And I
and he had a
really did
lisp.
not like
Okay, that's
any
not
of
Batman
them
can't have a lisp.
that much. My favorite one out of those 3 was probably Wonder Woman, and I didn't really like that one that much. I just
Same.
I just like the idea of Wonder Woman and Diana. Like
And that movie should have been great.
I know, and the trailer was amazing.
Wonder Woman, yeah.
Like the trailer was better than the film.
Whoever
Yes.
is directing or making those trailers for DC should
They are
be directing the
fantastic.
movies.
Yeah, because
Yeah,
the trailer for
literally.
Wonder Woman looks so good, and before that, the trailer for Suicide Squad was so good, and
That
that's
was the
probably the
best.
worst movie ever created.
That trailer was amazing. You saw the one that they set to Bohemian Rhapsody.
I don't know if I actually saw that one, but I heard you.
That's
tell me
actually
about
like my favorite trailer that I've ever seen, and to have the movie disappoint so hard.
it. Yeah,
Oh man.
it's insane.
by the way,
So DC
just a
trailers? Maybe DC should just stick with trailers.
Yeah, they should just make trailers for Marvel movies. Maybe that should be their new company.
Can I just have a small sidebar right here, real quick, about
With yourself.
Suicide Squad.
Okay,
Yeah.
go ahead.
I'm giving you the
So,
side.
okay, I'm gonna spoil Suicide Squad. Okay, so
Nobody cares. Go ahead.
okay,
I was gonna say,
thank
I
you.
don't care.
All I wanted was a movie about Diablo. He was the best character. He had like a actually interesting story that they
do
actually
not know
went
who
into.
that is.
I really just want a movie all about him where he's the main character. They should have just made him the main character of Suicide Squad, and then they killed him.
Spoilers.
DC has no idea.
Maybe that's
how-
why I don't know who that is.
DC has no idea how to do their characters because they kill off all the best characters. Okay, spoilers for Wonder Woman. They kill Ares. How are you gonna kill Ares in the third movie in the cinematic universe?
It was very sad.
That
was the most feels I got from that film.
Seriously, it makes me mad.
Well, now that we're all depressed,
back to Marvel.
Let's go back to Infinity War. All right, so now I think let's go ahead and jump into spoilers. So if you haven't seen Infinity War yet, you probably want to stop watching now because we're going to
just give them a time code to skip to. Give them a time code to skip to. It'll be right here. It'll be right here. It'll be right here.
Spoiler!
And then you can just click that, and then
no, so you can't.
There are spoilers coming up.
You could
click right on the
You
screen.
could give him an annotation.
Click right.
No,
here.
Just okay. Ignore him.
You could give him an. I've seen it.
Face.
I've seen someone do it. You could give it. You could just give him an annotation and it'll skip to a time in the video.
I'm gonna be super honest with you guys. I don't know really how annotations work anymore because they've changed so many times.
That's fair, actually. But I'm pretty sure you can do that.
Because they went away, right, for a while. I mean, it's been a while since
they're
they've been
back.
on YouTube. They're back. Because I know, like, you can do like videos and stuff at the end, but that's different. That's not annotations. That's just like links to a playlist.
I'm pretty sure you can. Maybe not. We'll figure it out. If
okay,
not, we'll
so there may be a time code right here. If there's not, there
please
can be
just
one in
cut
the
this whole part out.
No, I'm going to leave it in because I won't know until after I've uploaded the video whether or not this is possible.
That's true. Right?
So we're going to go ahead and move on and talk about spoilers for Infinity War. So we're assuming from this point out, anyone who's still watching has already seen the movie, all right? So, okay,
and seriously, do not watch this next part if you haven't seen the film.
We will find you.
It's so worth it. It's so worth it, and I can't even imagine.
I don't care whether or not you are a big Marvel fan. Don't.
I can't even imagine watching that movie knowing what's going to happen. That would just ruin the feel of it. So much, like to such a higher extent than most other movies.
So you should have seen it opening night.
Just don't.
If you didn't see it opening night, kill yourself is basically what we're saying.
No, don't do that.
A family show.
Don't do that.
Okay, never mind. See the movie.
Yeah.
Or kill yourself.
No.
Those are your options.
No, just see the movie.
I'm giving them an option.
It's a family show.
I'm giving them an option.
You're speaking to children.
Well,
no.
I'm speaking to families.
Yeah.
If it's a family show.
Don't tell families to kill themselves.
Well, if I tell families to kill themselves, then the parents will be like,
Moving
okay,
on
all right,
now.
kids, don't do that.
No,
all right,
we're
you
moving
don't.
on.
And then it's a great opportunity to say, hey, don't do what random strangers tell you to do online. That's an important lesson.
We're starting conversations here on the Ageekable podcast.
We're being terrible people, so you can tell your kids not to be like us.
We are being not we. They are being the kind of people that you tell your kids about and be like, kids, don't be like that.
And
avoid this person.
You look at this person.
Not me.
See, that's
You guys were doing it, not me.
That's why you do what I tell you to
no.
do. That kid didn't do what her parents told her to do.
I was the only one not.
She probably has cancer.
She probably is addicted to crack cocaine.
Or lens wipes.
You can't do inside jokes from stuff that happened off camera.
I can do whatever I want.
Also, I don't
This
like
is
being
my
in the middle
podcast.
because you guys keep gesturing right in front of my face.
And another thing.
Boy, I will bite your arm off.
I'm pretty sure that
was probably real loud.
Possible.
Pretty good, actually.
Oh, okay.
I don't think that's anatomically possible.
Let's talk about Infinity War.
I love how we just keep getting sidetracked.
Do we need to?
Okay, so
Was it that good?
let's do the same.
It was that good.
The
And if you say
same-
otherwise, seriously.
The same
You're like-
order.
Drooling.
It's a spit guard. It's fine. Okay, go ahead. Esther.
give it a little lick.
Give us your spoiler.
Give the microphone a little lick.
Give us your spoiler-filled.
Give it a
thoughts
little lick, would
on
ya?
Infinity War.
Not until
Give
he
us your
stops.
spoiler-filled thoughts.
Just
on
fill them with
Infinity War.
spoilers.
I want all the spoilers. I
Imagine
want to
that
know
you're making a
everything
turkey,
about
stuff it with
this
spoilers,
movie.
and then
I don't
top
want there
it with
to be
spoilers,
any
and then make
part of the
spoiler
movie
sauce on
that,
the
like,
side
is a
to dip it
surprise
in.
Me. I want a list of
All right,
characters.
I want
a
you
list of
to
who
actually
died.
tell me something
I
that I
wanna know who
didn't
the
know
main
about the movie.
character
I've
is.
seen it 3 times.
Yeah.
I want you to tell me
Yeah.
stuff I didn't know.
I want to see it in 3D when you are done speaking.
It's not funny anymore.
I want you to give such a detailed description of it that I rewatch the whole movie in my brain.
Okay, so we open on
just a second. For our audience that does not know us, Jeremiah and I do this bit all the time, and we think it's hilarious. Our friends do not
Nobody else
appreciate
does.
it. I would like to
No.
know your thoughts in the comments below. Please be on our side. Okay, go ahead.
Yeah. And if you're not, you know what? That's okay. We don't want you in our audience anyway. Get out of here.
Dude!
I actually still want them in our audience.
You know what? We can afford to lose some audience members.
We really can't.
Good point. Please stay.
5.
Okay, go ahead.
Like this video if you're one of our 5 people.
Give the video a like. Remember that little joke from last week? Give the video a like.
Classic content from the Ageekable podcast.
Okay, you just ruined it. Esther, tell us what you thought of the movie.
And get a little bit closer to it.
I will say that the one person, like, before we went to the theater, I was like, okay, obviously I'm going to be sad because I knew that there's going to be a lot of people that were going to die. But I was like, okay, I'm going to hold it together. I'm not going to cry unless they kill off Spider-Man.
Oh, boy.
They killed Spider-Man. I was literally like, his was the one that lasted the longest, and I loved Tom Holland's acting in it. Like, he was so good in that scene specifically. But, like, especially when he was saying, like, I don't want to go, I don't want to go, I don't want to go. Like, I was just, like, beating into Jeremiah because he was sitting next to me in the theater, and I was just, like, hitting him. And then, like, I just remember my whole body going numb. Like, I remembered everything that happened after that, but it was like I had to work to remember it because I was still trying to get over the fact that they killed off Spider-Man. Because he is my all-time favorite. I love Spider-Man, Peter Parker, and Tom Holland is a perfect combination of both. Because, like, even when he is being Spider-Man, he's still Peter Parker because he's a complete and total dork and nerd, and I love that. But also when he's being Peter Parker, he's still trying to, like, hide how cool he is. Like, Tom Holland does such a good job of combining those two things. Mm-hmm. And that was such a hard scene to watch. And, like, especially with Iron Man, or Tony Stark, actually. That was Tony Stark. That wasn't Iron Man. But, like, the way he was, like, hugging him and holding him, he's like, no, don't go. And just, like, how...
There's some great acting in that scene.
It's so good.
Mm.
Yeah, that
was the scene that made me cry the most. I did cry before that, and I was like, okay, I told myself I wasn't going to, but I did. It was...
That movie had so many, like, really, really good actors, which is really surprising for a comic book movie. But, like, if you think about it, like, Marvel really has been building up an arsenal of, like, really good actors. Like, Robert Downey Jr., the fact that they have him. I honestly, I don't think I've seen him as anything else, but I know he's been in a lot of other movies, and I know he's, like... He's a really good actor from what I've seen, and that's really cool that, again, they're just kind of stepping up the quality of comic book movies.
Yeah, that Benedict Cumberbatch is great. Chris Pratt, can I just say this? I love Chris Pratt as an actor because the first time I was exposed to him, it was Parks and Rec. And so obviously came to know him as Andy Dwyer, as the, silly, funny, fat guy, right? And he's great in that role.
He wasn't that fat.
He was chubby.
He was
chubby.
He was
acceptable.
Yeah, chubby.
He was Fat Pratt.
Also, can I just say that I love Chris Pratt, but not for the reason that most females do. I don't love him because he's hot. Rebecca doesn't think he's that hot.
I think he's a pretty good-looking guy.
But, like, I don't like him for that. The only thing that...
He's not as good-looking as
Or the main thing
Chris
that I've seen
Hemsworth.
him in is the Guardians of the Galaxy films. And I love him as the Star-Lord because, like, he's just so good. And he's so dumb, but he's so smart.
I prefer Chris Pratt over Chris Hemsworth.
I'm sorry, can we just focus on the fact that you just said you don't think Chris Hemsworth is hot?
What?
What about Chris Evans? What about Chris Evans? What do you think about Chris Evans?
Chris Evans is gorgeous. But here's the thing.
His eyelashes, though?
The problem with
like, serious.
All right, we don't need to take it that far.
The problem with Chris Hemsworth is that I like his brother Liam Hemsworth more.
That's fair.
And they look so similar. I think it's probably just the dark hair, mostly. I think because in the Hunger Games, Liam
does
has
have
darker
hair in
the
Ragnarok and...
No, he's still blonde.
I know, but he still has darker hair.
Yeah,
like,
but
it's a
not
darker
as dark
blonde.
as Liam. And also Liam's a little bit younger, so that could be it too.
But it's still dark.
Well, I guess that makes sense. Closer to your age.
Yeah. And
I love how that is the perfect description of Chris Hemsworth. It's like a pirate and an angel had a baby. That is literally the perfect description of him.
Yeah, that whole scene was hilarious.
I love that. Also,
great.
how Thor just refuses to call Rocket a raccoon. He just calls him Rabbit the entire time.
Yeah.
And Rocket doesn't correct him.
Sorry, Wilmy. I think that shows Rocket's appreciation and admiration for him.
Yeah.
Because
I
normally he
know.
would be super sensitive about that stuff, right? But he doesn't
Like
say anything.
he's really sensitive about being called like a trash rabbit or something or whatever.
I
But
Trash
saw
panda.
someone.
trash panda, that's what it was.
I saw someone talking about this on Facebook. They were talking about someone who actually didn't care for the movie much. They were saying one of their criticisms was that there wasn't much character development for.
Sorry. I'm so sorry about that. I just silenced my phone.
scared me.
I'd like to apologize.
All the notifications, brother.
So, anyways,
It's hard being popular, you know?
he was pushing the notification.
It was Mom.
Two equally valid
Classic.
jokes.
But yeah, so this person was saying that they didn't think there was like enough character development for all of the main characters. Did you hear that too?
What? Who said that? I want to punch him in the face.
Okay, please don't. They're my friend.
Oh.
Wait.
Never mind, I'm
But-
sorry.
You don't know him. But someone was
Are they
just
gonna be watching
saying
this?
that there was like there wasn't enough character development in like the main characters that we've been getting to know, which like okay, so I understand his point. I don't agree with him because I think the purpose of this movie was not to develop those characters necessarily so much as
That's
it
what
was
all that
to like
character development was for.
Exactly, yeah. So that was kind of my opinion. But the one thing that he mentioned was that there is like a little bit of like probably the character that has the most development, who's like one of our heroes, would be Rocket. So that's kind of like one of the things is that like in Guardians 2, he gets so upset with like being called Trash Panda, but now he's kind of like grown and matured, and now he's like, you know, he lets it slide because he knows what battles to choose.
He did actually
So-
he did actually have a lot of character development and like growth in Guardians too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which I didn't really
he
expect.
did.
Yeah.
Like you understand now, or like you understand more now why he is so sarcastic and snotty, kind of.
That was
like
that was a great scene between
Yeah.
him and man, what's his name? Blue guy.
I don't know. I need to watch that movie
Mohawk,
again.
with the whistle,
Oh, yeah.
whistle arrow.
can't remember his name.
Chris Pratt's adopted
You know who I'm
dad.
talking about.
Yeah.
You know
I
who I'm
love that
talking
guy.
about.
I was really sad.
He's got a
he
blue
died.
goatee on blue skin. You know who I'm
And
talking
he's
about.
the only one who can pull it off.
That's not true.
It's true.
Anyway. Why?
All right. So,
The
Jemima,
joke
did you want to give us your spoiler-filled
You go on for a
thoughts?
second.
I'm scared.
You
I
wanna
don't
go
think we should
ahead?
Go on for a second.
Okay. So, yeah. So for me, so oh man, there's so much to talk about. It's so hard to just like pick something. I think the biggest thing that I liked that for some reason was kind of unexpected, just like I wasn't expecting it, but it was like the most obvious choice was basically making Thanos the main character of the movie.
True.
Yes, and like you
Solid
really
choice.
understand why he thinks that he's doing the right thing, and you
Yeah.
understand why.
And I think that was really cool because most of the time in movies, again, you don't have enough time to really develop the heroes enough to where the audience cares for them, and also develop the villains enough to where they're strong villains.
Which
So,
basically means that the villain winds up just being an embodiment of evil
yeah.
and not an interesting character in
And
themselves.
just, yeah, very cliche, just kind of like doing, you know, very
Kill all the
specific
people.
things. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I thought that was really brilliant, and I loved how much. Like, it's funny, too, because after I watched it the first time, I was thinking back, and I was like, man, they spent a ton of time, like, developing Thanos' character, and, like, that was so cool. And then when I watched it
And
the
his
second time,
relationship
I was
with
like,
Gamora.
yeah, and I watched it the second time, though, and I was like, we didn't, like, he's not really the main character until, like, almost halfway through the movie is when they really start developing him. But it's so weird because it's, like, the pacing is kind of weird, but it totally works. And I think it only works just because, again, they've spent so much time building up to this and so much character development up till now. So I thought that was really cool. And then going back to the acting that we were talking about earlier, so, you know, at least in our circle, a lot of people have been talking about Tom Holland and just how brilliant he was, and he was really fantastic. But a lot of people talk specifically about his death scene and just how well he acted that. And of course, David Tennant.
I thought it was a little lackluster. I would have preferred that they trap Thanos in a machine that would pluck out his eyeballs and pour acid in the eye holes for eternity and feeding him his favorite food while preventing him from digesting it so the pain steadily grows forever and he comes to hate that which he once loved. And also every 10 seconds it stabs him in the balls.
What was that?
That's what I thought of the movie.
That
Why
concerns
did we invite
me.
him to be on this?
What were you talking about?
You didn't even wait for her to finish.
I was in the middle of a very serious moment.
I honestly wasn't listening. I hope I didn't interrupt anything too important.
It was very
I was talking about Tom Holland's acting. It was kind of important. Wow, I really just peeked out. Okay, so anyways, what I was saying was, and I think I mentioned that David Tennant was my doctor. That was probably really confusing, because that got interrupted. But what I was going to say was that so Tom Holland's death scene was just like so well acted, and with David Tennant being my doctor, anytime the last words a character says are "I don't want to go," it just instantly gets me in the feels so hard. So that part was fantastic, but for me, Tom Holland's best moment in the movie was not that moment.
I agree with what she's about to say.
Me too.
That was
I don't want to let her say it before I express the fact that I agree with it.
I do agree.
Obviously,
and I
I've
actually
said this before.
purposefully left this for you to
Yeah.
say because I knew that.
thank you.
That she would say it in a coherent way.
Let's just build the hype and the anticipation a little bit more here, shall we? Awkward silence works too. Okay, so anyway, for me, Tom Holland's strongest acting moment was the moment, I think it's towards the beginning of the movie, it might be like a third of the way through, something like that, I don't know. Anyways, when they're on the ship and it's him
The Flying Donut.
Yeah, it's the Flying Donut. It's him and Iron Man and Doctor Strange. And the moment when they like decide that they're gonna go to oh shoot, what's the name of Thanos' planet?
Titan.
Yeah, okay, thank you. Yeah, so they decide they're gonna go there, and Iron Man just kind of flippantly walks past, and he's like, "Okay, kid, you're an Avenger now," and then he moves on, and there's like this really long shot of Tom Holland where you just see like all the emotions that brings up, and the first one is like, whoa, what just happened? And then he realizes like, oh, I'm an Avenger now. That's really cool.
It's
and
the
then
only
he
thing
realizes,
that he has wanted since he's become Spider-Man is to be an
and
Avenger.
then he realizes like, oh wow, this is gonna require sacrifice. Like that's a really big deal. And then he's like, I can do it. And then that's like where it ends. And there's so many emotions.
Good.
And he plays that so brilliantly. That is my favorite moment from the whole movie.
Yeah.
Like Andrew
it's so
Garfield
good.
would not have been
It's
able
so-
to do that.
So
like,
good.
He might have been able to do that. He's a pretty good actor. Okay, all right. Calm.
I can't hear what that sounds like because I don't have earbuds in, but they can.
So
I'm excited to find out what that sounded like.
Can I
You'll
just
have to
say?
watch the video. I'll send
Patting
you a
my
link.
shoulder.
Can I just say I would have really wanted Donald Glover to play Spider-Man, right?
Mm-hmm.
But I would not have wanted him to shave. So he just has like his long scraggly
A high
beard and his like
schooler.
nappy hair, and he's supposed to be like 17. That's all I want.
I don't really understand that other than I know. Yeah,
You know what he looks like now. You've seen him like post Community, right?
kind of.
I've
Yeah,
seen
well,
pictures.
I
I
mean,
don't
he
even
was
know who
in
that is.
Homecoming.
Yeah.
He's
So you
the
saw
guy
him
in Homecoming. That gets his hand like stuck to the car. He's like talking to.
Oh!
And by the way,
he's doing the.
he is what's
like
his
the
name?
robber dude?
There is a character in the comics. I'm blanking on his name right now, but
Like young Spider-Man
a
or
black
something?
kid who becomes Spider-Man for a
Yeah.
while in the comics. And there was talk for a while that that character was going to be the main Spider-Man in the MCU.
Right.
And he didn't wind up doing that. Obviously, Tom Holland was playing Peter Parker, but they did sort of tease that there because Donald Glover's character is that kid's uncle.
Yeah. So we'll
in
see how
Homecoming,
that
he
develops in
mentions
the
that.
future.
Illuminati.
I would love to. I would love.
okay.
I feel bad that I forgot his name, but I would love to see that character.
So that's
on
an
the-
interesting
the
point that
screen.
you bring up because so going back like a few I don't know when this was, maybe a year ago or so, Tom Holland accidentally revealed that there's going to be 2 more Spider-Man movies, and we weren't supposed to know that, which was not that big of a deal at the time. It was kind of like Tom Holland.
But now it is.
But now, okay, so now we think it is, but here's the thing. What if the Spider-Man movies are following that other character? What if the next 2 movies are with that other character?
Ooh, that would be great.
Because then that might mean that they
That
don't
should be
have
really
to
cool.
bring people back, because that's
Yeah.
what I've been wondering.
Also,
Is
can I
like,
just say that I was kind of super really disappointed that MJ was not in Infinity War.
yeah,
True.
I really wanted
But
to see her.
they have so
Where's
many characters.
Zendaya? Where is she? Give
Bring her
to
out.
us.
So
Wait, one
I agree with that as much
Sacrifice her to us.
as. Okay, I don't agree with
No,
that.
no, do not kill off MJ, or I will kill off you.
But
no,
here's the thing.
just sacrifice Zendaya to the mob of people.
No, that is a terrible idea. I love.
Are you talking about The
Zendaya.
Greatest Showman? I don't know. Anyways, I understand.
Neither does anyone else.
That didn't make any sense. I was gonna be mad, and then I'm like, wait, that doesn't make any sense.
Oh, good.
Rebecca-
I don't have to be mad.
Rebecca didn't like The Greatest Showman. That's a little backstory
It
there
was
for
her
you.
greatest mistake in life. was to
So
not like
I
The Greatest
understand
Got him.
wanting Zendaya in this movie, but they have so many characters. Like to have
I know.
everyone's like,
But I wanted her
side
to be in,
characters
like,
in there
one
would be so
scene.
confusing.
They didn't have Natalie Portman
Like I
in there
wanted,
either.
I wanted her
They
to
haven't
like
had
be on the
her
bus.
since-
They didn't have
like
They didn't have
Dark World.
Peggy's grandkid that Cap is
Susan.
weird with.
Yeah.
They didn't have her in this movie.
Sure
Okay.
hope she didn't die.
No, I actually kind of hope she
I mean,
does.
she's kind of cool,
Anyways.
I guess.
Yeah, she's
I
cool,
wanted
but-
I wanted MJ to be like on the bus when Ned was just like, "Oh crap, we're all gonna die," like creating the
True.
diversion.
Yeah.
I wanted her to be there, just like,
just like sketching it.
yeah, like that would have been hilarious.
That would have been a really fun
Just, like,
cameo.
Yeah.
We
clip.
should have had that,
That would've
instead of the
worked.
Stan Lee cameo, honestly.
Oh yeah,
Stanley
like,
cameo is fine.
It was
It's
fine.
like-
It wasn't great.
That's
it
the
was
problem is that all
mediocre.
the Stanley cameos now are just like fine. It's
Yeah.
like whatever. We expect it, so it's there. It's like
yeah.
whatever.
Yeah.
just like, oh look, there's Stanley.
And I honestly
It used to
feel
be
like
it used to be really cool because
yeah.
Stanley is such a like lovable guy and he can't act at all.
Yeah.
But it's like fine. It's like it's Stan Lee. He's great. But
And
now it's just like
The thing is
I
too
don't
with
know,
this
what's he
movie, they
doing?
were like flipping so many stereotypes on their heads with like within Marvel movies. For example, just like they only had one post-credit scene as opposed to two. So it would have been interesting if there was no Stan Lee cameo. Because it
would have been
it
cool.
almost totally doesn't make any sense because
Or-
it's such a big movie. Like, of course, Stan Lee is going to be in this movie
Yeah.
because
Yeah.
it's so big.
I probably
But-
would
Or
have
it
been
would've been-
disappointed.
Actually,
Yeah.
it would have been a better cameo for
Probably wouldn't
Stan
have
Lee.
noticed though until like the
I would have
very end.
I would have thought about it like
Actually-
10 years later. Be like,
Ooh, this
why wasn't
would've-
Stan Lee in that movie?
This would have actually been a cool Stanley cameo, at least I think so. Is if he was just in the after credits scene with Fury and what's her name?
Maria Hill.
Yeah, Maria Hill.
Yeah.
If he would have been the guy that was standing there and then he died, like he wouldn't have
yeah.
said
That would have been
anything.
pretty
He
cool.
just would have been standing there and then he would have like dissolved as Fury is going back to the car.
Okay, I no longer like this movie. It could have been so much better.
That would have also
Okay.
that would have
You sir.
I'm kidding, obviously.
that would have
She has no back support.
I'm sorry about that.
Sacrifices have to be made.
That would have also broken the mold of all of Stanley's
Too soon.
cameos.
It looks so weird on
Oh,
camera.
I'm sorry. Were we interrupting you?
Oh, that must suck.
This is a
Kind
family
of like
show.
your personality.
You can't say words like suck.
What was that word again? Can you repeat that, please?
Suck as in sucker.
Ricky just made me spit into the microphone.
It's fine. There's a spit guard.
Anyway,
Also, it cracks me up how this microphone says blue, but it's red.
it's orange.
Orange, red. It's not blue. That's my point.
It's called the Blue Spark microphone.
Does it make blue sparks?
No, but it looks like a spark.
That's not true. And if the name was based on what it looks like, why wouldn't they make it blue?
Yeah.
Well, Blue is just the brand, and they have like a variety of different models.
Do they
of
sell blue
microphone.
microphones at
Yeah.
all?
Yeah, I don't know anything about this company other than this microphone, but
Okay.
it could be
are
that
we
their
talking
first
about this
microphone was
now?
blue.
Just like,
That's a possibility.
I don't know. I don't,
Infinity War, people. Infinity War.
I don't know. I don't
Infinity
have
War
any good.
made me feel blue.
I don't know. I don't have any good ideas. What's the most unique thing about our company? I don't know. We make good blue
blue.
microphones. All right.
Maybe the people were blue.
blue
think-
microphone company.
Maybe they were Smurfs.
Ooh,
Maybe
was it,
Smurfs
was
made.
it was that company
Or
started by the
Trolls.
Blue Man Group?
Blue Sky Productions.
Blue Man Group? Blue Hole Company? That's the company that makes PUBG.
The Blue Hulk.
That's not a thing.
Oh, whoops. Maybe I'm colorblind.
There's a Red Hulk.
Yes, I know.
Hey, you know what? Props to you for not seeing Race. Props to you for not seeing Race, you know? I mean,
I thought you were talking about a movie called Race for a moment. Like, That's how much.
You know what? Props to you for not watching that movie. It was garbage.
I thought there was a movie called Race where there was like a green Hulk and a red Hulk, and they had to race each other. I think it's because I've been watching so many CinemaSins videos recently, and there are so many like weird, crappy, old superhero movies like that. Like, there's one called The Running Man that I watched their video for last night.
The Running Man.
What about Kick Puncher?
There's, is Kick Puncher an actual movie?
Kick Puncher, I think so.
Okay.
Basically, if you're not familiar, the idea is that the Kick Puncher is a superhero whose power is that he punches as hard as a normal person can kick.
And he fights crime with that power.
Which basically just means he works out a lot.
I was gonna say, like, that's not that difficult to get, like...
Did you mean
Like,
to
it's
search
not a
for
superhero
Dwayne The Rock
power.
Johnson?
Exactly. To be honest, though, that's not to be honest, but
Now the
said the
thing
wrong
is,
thing
though,
until we
I
did
think
that.
his punches are not as strong as other people's kicks. They're as strong as his own kicks.
That's possible.
So if he works out a lot,
he
could
just skips
technically
leg day.
No, like if he works out so that his kicks become super powerful, then his punches also become
automatically
super
become powerful.
Yeah,
That's
so,
just do a lot of leg presses, I guess.
So how does this relate to Infinity War?
But we're
Jeremiah, stop!
so that Kick Puncher cameo in Infinity War was great.
spoilers.
Wait, seriously?
No.
Okay, I was confused.
But I do think
okay.
that in Community, when they had their Kick Puncher bit, I
don't
don't
even know
think
why
that
I'm
was
here.
actually from the movie. It definitely wasn't.
Yeah.
If it is a real movie, but because they were combining it with like RoboCop.
Yes, because and I saw the CinemaSins video for RoboCop as well, and that movie looks real bad.
Yeah. What about was it the reboot?
No, it was the first one.
Oh, really? That movie, I actually want to watch the old one.
Yeah, it didn't look that great.
But
But
the reboot was very poorly reviewed.
you know, you can never tell really from just watching CinemaSins
Yeah.
videos, so I don't know for sure. But
And especially
because
because it's an older movie.
yeah,
You know.
yeah, the
I mean,
special effects and stuff were
yeah,
really
so
rough.
like special effects and all that kind of garbage is going to be like laughable, but sometimes there's a certain charm to that too.
Yeah.
that can hold
true.
up over time.
Speaking of charm, can you not bump my microphone while I'm
seriously.
talking?
Don't bump my microphone, bro.
Rude. Speaking of which, I have actually wanted to. We should do this sometime. I've been wanting to go back and rewatch the Narnia movies.
See if they hold up.
Yeah, see if they hold up. But also, like, I remember being.
Back in the conversation now.
I
Talking about
remember-
Narnia.
I remember being very, very harsh with some of the movies when they came out. Well,
Prince Caspian.
Some
Prince
of the
Caspian,
three,
yeah.
Prince Caspian and Voyage of the Dawn Treader, and I've been wanting to go back and rewatch them because, like, back then I was such a stickler to like it has to be word for word from the book, and now I kind of want to go back and watch it and say, okay, is this a good movie? Because I genuinely don't know.
Now you
because
actually have like
it's-
taste in movies.
yeah,
so
and
you
I want
know.
to go back and see if the decisions that they made actually made sense for a movie or not. Because some of my friends were talking about it at the film festival this year, and they were talking about like how much they loved Prince Caspian and how it was like their favorite movie. And I still think The Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe is going to be my favorite movie, just for nostalgic reasons, and because I think it genuinely is a good film, and it's based so much on the book that I think that's great.
Turned into a thumb war.
It's not an actual thumb war. You guys are doing it wrong.
No.
But
Well,
so
that's not
yeah.
entertaining.
So I want to
The
go
wa-
back and like watch things and kind of just see, like if the thing with I think there
Caspian and Susan.
yeah, there are things that I think I'm still going to be against, like the thing with Caspian and Susan, because
That was messed up.
because the fundamentals of that doesn't make sense. Because if he was old enough to like date her or whatever, then he would have been old enough to have already been king. Therefore, like
Sure.
the entire plot of the movie
He
doesn't
was
make any
supposed
sense.
to be like 9 years old or 10 years old.
Yeah,
That
'cause
was
the premise
entire
from the
point
book-
of the book
Yeah, was
is
that
that
he
he
wasn't-
wasn't king yet.
he wasn't old enough.
His dad was dead, so he
Yeah.
should be the
So,
king, but he
his
wasn't old
uncle
enough
was
to
kinda
actually
like-
take the crown.
Yeah, and so his uncle was filling in for him, and then when his uncle had
But if he's
an heir-
17,
yeah.
he's gonna be
Yeah.
taking the
Also,
crown.
Ben Barnes was like 25 when they filmed that. So
Yeah, he didn't even
he
look
would have been
17.
king
Yeah.
for several years.
Yeah. So, what were we talking about?
Infinity?
Infinity War, I think.
But anyways, we
forgot.
should go back and like rewatch some of those
That would be
older
great.
movies from our childhood.
Then we
at
could give
some
our
point.
thoughts from them on here on podcast.
Yeah,
stay
that'd be
tuned,
great.
ladies. Stay tuned, boys.
Next
And,
week,
ladies and gentlemen.
It won't be next week.
Next week we'll take on the
Actually,
next week we'll take care of that. We'll
might
tell
as-
you guys. Well, next week.
I might as well take this time to tell you there probably is not going to be a podcast next week because I'm going to be gone for a couple weeks.
Well, let's just record 2 episodes right now. I don't care.
Idiot.
No.
Idiot,
I'll
idiot.
kill him right now.
They
I
won't
don't
notice that we're wearing the same clothes.
care.
Or
James.
that we
That's
just
actually a really good
admitted to
idea. I
doing
had
that.
not thought of that until now.
Actually, you hadn't.
I got nothing else to do all day. What time is this?
So yeah, how long have
11?
we been going? Because I want to know like...
We've been going for about, what, it's almost 45 minutes.
Oh, okay. That's
not bad.
That's not bad. That's decent. I'll take it.
That's
So,
not bad.
Like 20
Okay,
minutes
so
talking about Infinity War.
since we've spent a lot of time talking about Infinity War,
I feel like I didn't get to actually give my thoughts on it because I did that dumb little bit right there.
oh, okay.
Remember that?
I'm so sorry. Please give us your thoughts.
Because then he's just gonna...
Okay, actually,
I would like to know your thoughts.
I actually really only have one.
Why does he keep doing that?
And I feel like there's a lot more that I could have said too,
Oh,
but
there
I'm just-
definitely. We could do like an
Yeah.
entire month's.
There's
worth of
so much to talk
podcasts
about
on
with this
it.
movie.
There's a lot of
honestly.
people who've already posted reviews by now.
Yeah,
Okay, you know,
yeah,
yeah,
I
you
know.
want more opinions, go somewhere
This-
else or talk
this
to your
isn't-
friends.
this
You
isn't-
ever thought about maybe
Or
making
go
friends in real
watch
life?
the movie.
You ever thought about maybe making friends in real life?
I don't have any friends.
Ladies and gentlemen, just go make some friends in real life. It's not that hard.
But I don't have any friends.
You know what? You know what my thoughts were right after seeing Infinity War?
I would like to apologize for that.
Every single time you do that, your nose
Just a second. Do you guys want to know? Do you want to know what my thoughts were right after seeing Infinity War?
I would love to know your thoughts. Carry on, please.
I already knew. Okay, here is my thought right after seeing Infinity War.
Ladies and gentlemen, that movie is a classic.
This scares me.
And that's where I intersect the clip of you saying this movie is a classic.
Yes.
Bravo!
That was probably way too loud.
Big fan of the show.
Okay, please give us your thoughts on Infinity War.
I really-
big hater of the show.
I really only
don't
wanted
like the show
okay,
at all.
Please stop. Please.
I'm gonna turn off your microphone.
It's your microphone.
Hey, Esther, I want to talk.
Whoops.
Can you let me talk, please?
Okay. Guys, no violence on this show. This is a family show.
He has been like.
Come on, Esther.
Oh, come on. That was barely even PG-13 violence.
I like how we literally got that on camera. We still yelled. Yeah, she's gone. Okay, let's get your
Oh,
thoughts
nice.
on Infinity
Okay.
War.
All right, cool. Now I can, speak freely. Now. Come on, Esther.
You can tell us what you really think
Come
of
on, Esther,
Infinity War
come on,
and
Esther, we
Tom
missed you.
Holland.
Come on back here and sit down. We missed you. We missed you
you wanna
on the
sit in
podcast.
this
Why don't
chair?
you come down here and sit down?
Let's switch things up.
take.
Yeah. Here, I'll move over there. I'll move over there. Yeah.
This is actually a lot of fun.
I like it.
You don't have any headphones though.
It's okay.
Oh, I apologize.
Okay.
All right.
What a fresh, fun, new perspective.
I don't like sharing mics. I want to go back.
Nope. You is stuck.
Okay. I really only had one. This is like weird now. This is a completely different experience without being able to hear everyone in your ear holes.
How are you feeling about this, Esther?
I really like it.
Yeah, it's great, right? Okay.
Because now I get to do this stuff.
So, so basically, the only thing I started to say this earlier, and then you guys talked over me.
Sorry about that.
We do that a lot.
Anyway, Chris Pratt. Okay.
Oh, Chris Pratt. I love
Yes. He's great, and as I was saying, like a long time ago, first time I got introduced to Chris Pratt was Parks and Rec.
Mm-hmm.
So, really came to know him as the dumb funny guy. That's pretty much his role. He's dumb and he's funny, and that's his thing. And then in Guardians of the Galaxy, got more of that, but a slightly older, slightly more mature version.
Like he's really smart, but he's
Of
also
him?
really dumb and
Yeah,
funny.
but also I got to see a little more serious side of him, and in Passengers too, which is a great movie with Jennifer Lawrence,
Yeah.
who's also amazing.
Except for the ending. Don't watch the last 20 minutes.
Yeah, that was a little lackluster.
The ending could have been better.
Just watch the first part of it and then come here and I will tell you how it ends.
Yeah, we'll tell you how it actually ends.
The proper ending.
We have a great little
Alternate ending.
great little ending.
was really
great little
loud.
alternate ending for it. So anyway, So you got to see a little more serious side of Chris Pratt's acting, and I really like that in Jurassic World too.
Oh yeah, I haven't seen that yet.
Which is a great movie. I love that movie.
Jurassic or Jurassic World.
And then in Guardians 2, spoilers, but again, we've been in spoilers for a long time. I don't know what it is exactly that I love so much about it, but his facial expressions in the scene where he finds out that Ego, his dad, gave his mom cancer intentionally.
Oh my gosh, that scene was so good.
And part of it, I know, is the CG because his eyes,
yeah.
like where he's like seeing the whole universe, it was so like weirdly beautiful and like eye catching.
Yeah.
And then
so good.
just the way that, like, as he says, as Kurt Russell, who's amazing, also says, that's why it was so hard for me to put that tumor in her brain. Then how that just like his eyes roll back into focus, and he just like gets so angry. There's something about that facial expression that's so good.
He just says the word "what," and the way that he says it, and his facial expression, and his eyes, and everything, like
that whole scene.
It's just
that whole scene. All the acting and the CG were both insane, and they worked really well together.
Work too, because they used that technique where they I can't remember which way it was, but move in and zoom out or the other way, And
I'm talking about like the whole fight scene between the two of them was great. There was a lot of good dialogue, a lot of good acting. Yes, and there was still like random humor in it too, which was funny. I like that.
Yeah.
And then so in this movie we got a little more of that when he finds out that Thanos killed Gamora.
Oh my
gosh. That was some really good acting right there.
So good.
Almost kind of sloppy writing because I didn't like it. It felt like a little bit of a cop-out, like, that he couldn't just wait for like 20 seconds until they got the gauntlet off. And also, why did it take so long to pull a glove off of his hand, basically?
Because he was still trying to close his hand.
It's still a cop-out. Still a cop-out.
You're a cop.
I wish I was a cop.
I'm going to go arrest some people.
Okay, James.
I didn't know that. I don't
we
know
were
how
just talking earlier about how you do drugs.
No, that was you. Hey, I'm arresting you. No! I'm bringing you in. I don't know how I became a cop without knowing it.
Also, for the record, I do not do
I rushed
drugs.
your paperwork through.
Oh, that's... Did
have
I fill out paperwork?
No, I filled it out for you. That was me rushing it through.
Oh, well...
That's what I did.
Thanks, man. I appreciate it. Yeah, you see how that's not funny?
That did not work.
You see how that's not funny? It's just annoying.
It also kind of, like, dried out my throat completely.
Thanks for your contribution, Esther.
Yeah.
So glad to have you here on this fine podcast.
I'm a big fan of the show.
Big fan of the show.
Yeah,
you know what?
Big fan.
Actually,
this is such an exciting episode.
To be honest with you,
probably going to be really boring to watch.
To be honest with you, the guests on this show have gone downhill a lot recently. Kind of like the first week was great, and then there was like an addition to the show or something, and I don't like it. I'm not as big of a fan anymore.
You can mail me your reviews as a letter to the editor. I do not accept reviews in person.
Okay.
I don't accept criticism well.
I'll just send it to the corporate offices in California.
That sounds great.
I'll just process it there and just complain.
Sounds good.
It's more like feedback. It's not really a complaint.
Are you just going to mail it to YouTube's headquarters?
Yeah. Like, hey, listen, guys. I know you're a big platform and all, but there's this one show.
Please take this down.
Last time I saw the video had 5 views. All right, now listen.
I don't think you're going to lose any income. Just shut it down now.
I don't like it. I don't want you to remove the account. I don't like it. There's a guess and a bad. I don't like it.
I honestly wonder how many letters or things like that YouTube actually gets. They probably get more of people
emails
flagging channels. Can you flag a channel, or is it maybe a video?
I think just videos. I think.
Yeah.
I don't think you can flag a whole channel, but
I bet they get a lot of that.
If a channel gets
How's
3
it going
strikes.
over there, Esther? Sorry about my hat. Not really that sorry.
So anyway,
I feel rejected.
Give us your thoughts on this.
I don't like it.
I'm just gonna start talking without a microphone. I think this is fine. It's too much work to lean over here every time.
That's why Esther didn't do it, and that's why I don't like her. That's why I don't like the guests. I don't like it.
But she has a microphone now. She's not talking.
Yeah, well, I mean that's a good point. Maybe that's just her. Maybe she's just bad on camera.
Let's continue talking about her right in front of her face.
You know, yeah, that's the braces too. I don't like it.
Dude!
Like what are you 12?
Sorry, I just totally picked it up.
Hey, look, sometimes it's good to not.
I would like to apologize to my entire audience.
Sorry if you're wearing earbuds and watching this.
That's a great word.
Hashtag be proud of the braces.
Hashtag kerfuffle.
Hashtag kerfuffle.
What does kerfuffle even mean? Ooh, also, I just realized that I have access to Jeremiah's phone.
Also, you just probably made a pretty loud noise by smacking it on the microphone stand.
Oh, wait, you know his passcode? I was really just, like, waiting for you to be just rejected.
Start playing sound bites from the text-to-speech app, please. I'm sure there's some good stuff in there.
Yeah. Pick something good, Esther.
By the way, I just want to maybe shout out the Valley Folk, youtube.com/the Valley Folk, because I kind of got this idea from them. Steve Zaragoza he's a comedy genius.
Marvel's Avengers Infinity War is the greatest thing to ever exist in the multiverse, and if Stan Lee asked me to, I would throw myself off of a cliff if he said it would make part 2 better for everyone else.
I love so many things about that, specifically the fact that, like, Stan Lee being like so much in charge of part 2, because like he's not directing it. Yeah, like
I know. I think I just was saying that because I did write that. I know that was probably confusing. I think that I was just saying that I have so much respect for Stan Lee that I would just literally do anything he said, and I got a little carried away and kind of strayed from that point a little bit, but that was originally.
It doesn't sound like a healthy relationship.
It's not at all. But anyway, so the idea, which I actually really want to do this now, from the Valley Folk youtube.com/the Valley Folk.
Hashtag not sponsored.
But
we were sponsored until he messed up the URL. We just got fired.
Yeah, we just lost that sponsorship. That was in the contract. You mess it up one time, you're done. Get out of here.
There were no second takes in a podcast.
No edits. Anyway. But so basically what they did is he would like prank call like a pizza place and with a text-to-speech app, and it would say like it would start out with like, please do not hang up. I was in a terrible accident and I can't speak, but thanks to the miracle of modern technology, I have this like voice aid thing like Stephen Hawking. Rest in peace, by the way.
Real sad.
Way to bring the mood down.
But then he would like start ordering pizza and then just randomly like say something really vulgar like and over and over again.
Or just like say something about like how in the accident he lost his entire family and like how sad he is.
Just
and
go
everything.
on and on about the accident and how sad it is.
Yeah. So great.
Oh, those guys are great.
You got something else for us, Esther? Got something all queued up?
No.
Oh, wow.
Hold on.
Yeah,
I'm
taking charge of this. I'm taking charge of this. You can't do nothing and then try to stay in charge of this. Oops. Are we still recording? Are we talking about anything?
Were you done with your thoughts on Infinity War?
Yeah, no, I just wanted to talk about Chris Pratt.
Okay, yeah.
Because I feel like he's underrated as like a serious actor.
Totally.
And
Screw you.
Thank you.
That's all I got.
Excellent contribution. Thanks for being on the show, Esther. We really appreciate you.
Big fan.
I'm a big fan of your personal work.
So anyway, yeah, I just think Chris Pratt's underrated as a serious actor, and he tends to be cast as an only comedy. Okay.
And I think it's funny too because, like, from my perspective, I have no idea if this is actually what happened, but from my perspective, he was cast in Guardians of the Galaxy, and so he was cast from Parks and Rec. So they kind of like cast him as like, okay, goofy character. All right, and he did well in the first movie. The first movie's not my favorite, but he did well.
I'm actually a big fan of that movie. It was great.
Okay.
This is just how I'm gonna talk for the rest of the podcast.
Disagree to agree.
Those are two different bits.
We have one bit per microphone.
So basically,
there's a divider right here.
Basically, just everything that she does is separate and it's its own thing.
It's equally good though.
You know what, we talked about it. We decided that.
You think I'm funny?
Just for the record, I put in like a dozen W's. I thought he was gonna go like, "Oh, you think I'm funny?"
Anyway, so basically, we talked about it internally. We took a vote, and we don't really We don't think it's in the best interest of the company to continue to allow Esther to be on the podcast. So instead,
I'm not needed.
Ageekable is not a company.
so instead,
Just to be clear,
the company decided
Or wanted.
it's not a company.
that maybe we should.
I am an individual.
The company decided that maybe we should let Esther do her own thing on the side because I mean, to be honest,
because she is hilarious in her own right.
to be honest, what's she adding to this?
She's the best part of this show.
What's she adding to this really?
I'm so glad you're here, Esther.
What's like, is there any
I feel hurt.
is there any contribution being made
The
here?
way he said that, I feel hurt.
He sounded genuinely sad.
I feel hurt.
Jeremiah, do you think if you were recording every word in the English language for a text-to-speech app, do you not think that you would be
I
depressed?
think you would only have to record the syllables.
Let's discuss this for a long time.
Okay, so I'm a method actor, so I'm putting myself in the mindset of a man who's
I'm
been
a big fan
commissioned
of the
to
show.
record
Big fan.
every syllable in the English language in a variety of different tones and like speeds, and I'm really trying to imagine that. So let me just, if you would please, let me just take this right here. Let me just take this right here for a little second, real quick here, right here, and whoops, I think I broke it.
What are you
Okay,
trying
here we go.
to do?
Okay, it's right here. All right, I got it. Don't worry about it. Stop worrying. Okay, what are you, my mom?
Stop touching the microphone.
Anyway, what are you, my mom?
That was really
you're
loud.
making
Is
really
Jeremiah
bad.
gonna stop talking
What
anytime
are you, my
soon?
mom or something? So anyway, all right, I'm putting myself in this mindset here. If you guys would please,
Silence your cell phones.
if you would please shut up for a second. Would you guys just shut up real quick? Okay. Ah. E. Ooh.
Screw you.
This is.
So going back to Chris Pratt, so they cast him in Guardians as the goofy guy because that's who he was in Parks and Rec, and then
That's not gonna
for some
help.
reason I don't know how this happened, but I don't know how he got cast in Passengers, but I am so glad he did because he was so good in that role, and I feel like that was the first time. Yeah, it was a weird choice, but that was the first time for me, anyways, that like I actually got to see him act seriously, like do serious acting, quote unquote. But also it was
That was loud.
yeah, maybe silence your cell phone, Esther.
Silence my cell phone.
But I feel like after Passengers came out, the writers for Guardians of the Galaxy 2 saw that and they were like, oh, Chris Pratt can actually act. Let's give him some serious scenes.
Ooh, we better utilize that right there.
And then they did, and it was fantastic. And I'm so glad. And I don't know if that's actually what happened, but that's what it seemed like happened.
All right, good talk, guys.
What we're talking about?
Did you want to say anything about Chris Pratt, Esther?
You want to maybe talk about how his name sounds like Chris Pratt?
Or you could talk about
Whoa.
something else.
You know what I mean?
Chris Pratt?
You can't stop hearing it now. Hey Esther, you ever heard of Chris Pratt?
I hate you.
I love Chris Pratt.
Also, did you know that the word crisp, especially if you say it slowly, starts in the back of your mouth and then just moves to the front. Just say it slowly. Crisp.
Yeah, that's why it's so satisfying to say crisp.
I know.
Crisp.
Crisp.
Never thought of that before.
Crisp.
I know, right? It's like
Crisp.
crisp.
I feel
That's
like
cool.
this
starts
has
right here
been
and
a
then moves to the
lovely
front of your
detour.
I love like weird language stuff like that.
I know,
Yeah.
me too.
It's so fun. Just like words that are just like really satisfying to say.
Yeah. Like heck or heckin'.
Okay, you
That's
just
not
peeked
so
out the
much like
microphone.
satisfying as it is like funny. It's kind of just like
Yeah.
a fun. It's like a joke.
Yeah.
It's not so much as like feels good. It's like
Yeah, the word hecking is like super ridiculous. So I like it
Blessing
for
to the
that.
human
really heckin'
language.
fast.
But also, I love saying "oh my heck" because
I got a Snapchat.
it doesn't mean anything. Like it literally just does not mean anything. But it sounds so fun. It sounds so violent, but it doesn't mean anything. It's pretty great. Also, I'd like to apologize to all the families watching if I just gave your kid an extra word to say that you don't want them to say. I would like to apologize.
What was that?
I was just apologizing to all the families watching since we gave their kids the word heckin'.
Well, unless they've seen Infinity War, they shouldn't even be watching this part.
Yeah,
You kind of just blew my mind a little bit.
you know, I mean, to be honest with you right now, I feel like it's okay for little kids to listen to profanity, but they shouldn't be hearing words like hecking. That
Can you point out that verse
Rebecca,
in the Bible?
Rebecca,
I do not understand.
I'm trying to talk to Esther right now. Would you please not get in between us?
I apologize.
Oh, wow, that must be really frustrating for you. Now, what?
Yeah, to be honest with you, that's really rude, and I don't appreciate it. Should I say anything?
It's just the window's open and you can hear like birds barking.
Birds barking?
Birds barking,
said
dogs
birds?
chirping.
I'm gonna
You can
go
hear-
home now. It's been lovely.
You can hear grass mowing.
Take a nap real quick.
You can hear
Okay, so we can actually
weeds
do what we
whacking.
wanted to do.
Oh yeah, this is nice.
There you
Yeah,
Actually, I'm just
Okay.
gonna take a nap right here.
Okay.
that's all right. I'm just gonna talk like you're not
Close
here,
it out
okay?
for me. Just
All right.
close it
Yes,
out.
okay.
So, dude, can you believe Rebecca on that podcast? Did you hear that? Did you hear everything she did?
I seriously don't know why she started this YouTube channel. It
Yeah.
sucks.
Like, I don't understand the point. Does she? I don't like. She doesn't think she's funny, right? I don't think so.
I honestly don't know. I don't
Is she
know
doing
how,
it ironically?
I don't know how we're going to tell her.
Is she doing it ironically? That's the question, because she might be.
I honestly don't know.
I know she's a fan of like ironic humor and everything, but
She is.
to be honest, I feel like she's more serious with the YouTube channel. I really wouldn't have expected her to like try to be like, you know, in front of the camera or like being funny or trying to sound like interesting or intelligent or anything like that, because she knows. Oh, hi, Rebecca.
I am
Here.
Rebecca! Hey, we missed
All right.
you.
That was
Hey.
She's our boss.
power nap I have ever had.
Scylla just went streaking across
She's
the
the
yard.
she's the CEO of this company. She's our boss and everything. It's great.
I
We
would just
love
like
her.
to be clear, Ageekable is not a company.
She hired us.
We don't get paid.
We pretend to be her
They're
siblings.
volunteers.
We don't get paid. She just want to get...
To be honest, the pay here is pretty bad, but you know what? It's good. It looks good on a resume. It's gonna jumpstart my career. I feel like it will. It looks great on a resume.
Wait, you guys are getting paid?
Didn't you get a job because of this YouTube channel once? Can we talk about that?
I didn't get a job.
Not you,
I was like...
Esther. You're a one-time guest. Okay, don't get it too.
You
don't
were
let it get
looking
too out of
directly
hand.
at me.
I am going to take this microphone because when we cross over into, I'm sorry about that. When we cross over into personal attacks on my guests, that
Aw,
you get
she
the
does
microphone
care.
taken away from
That puts
you.
a bad light on the company. That's bad PR.
I'm so scared. I really thought you were going to hit me with that.
No, I'm excluding Jeremiah.
Okay, well, I think we
This
should.
is going to be really boring to watch. It's going to be hecka annoying.
It's pronounced Heckin.
Do not.
Heckin' annoying. Hecka.
That's worse.
I couldn't remember if it was hecka or heckin', and so I
All right.
failed.
Well, I think we should go ahead and close out this podcast, guys. It's been a lot of fun. Thank you so much for listening to all of our thoughts on Infinity War.
And on multiple other things that you did not want to hear about.
Yes, and we appreciate you being here. I'm not sure if there's going to be a podcast next week. Stay tuned for that. But
What would happen if I unplugged my head?
and I don't know if this probably isn't going to be a every week type thing because I've got a lot going on in
Just
my
people like when we
personal
feel it.
life. But as often as we can, I'd like to do this because it's a lot of fun. So anyways, thank you guys so much for watching. If you like this kind of video, be sure to like it. Really leave a comment because that's like the biggest way that I know that you like certain videos and stuff.
Likes
and
do nothing except boost your
we might
self-esteem.
try a little bit harder to keep doing videos like this. So yeah, thanks
Big
for
fan of
watching,
the show,
guys.
big fan.
Thanks for being on, Esther. We really appreciate your presence.
Yeah, I'm a big fan of the show. Thanks for having me on.
You're welcome. Thanks for being on, Jeremiah, until the part where you made fun of one of my guests. But okay, take us out.
Good day, sir. You all deserve all the heartache in your lives and have a great day. The pain goes away when you cut yourself.